Please welcome Stacie, Lindsey, Melinda, Bachini, and Juan Valle.
Good morning. Welcome to the 11th Annual Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation Conference. Thank you for being here. We're so grateful for your involvement. I just wanted you to know we have about 550 attendees in person, and we don't quite know how many we'll have virtually today, but we will let you know at the end of the conference. I'm sure it will be in multiples of that. Just a couple of reminders before we get started. The virtual platform is called Chime, and you should have received an email on Monday that tells you how to log in. If you're having any trouble with that, you can go to registration. They'll be happy to help you. The Wi-Fi access is on the back of your badge, your conference badge. And the agenda, any updates to the agenda will be online, and there's also a virtual poster out there in the lobby that you can look at. We are staying active on social media throughout the conference, so please share your photos and highlights from the conference. We will be doing that, and we hope that you'll tag us, and then we can tag you. And we have a couple of taglines. It's CCA Hope and CCF Annual Conference AC24. The CCF store is just out to your right, and there's all kinds of awareness things out there in the store, in the lobby that you can purchase if you would like to. You can participate in a service project during lunch in the mill room, which is just across the hall here. That we're doing some folders for our community providers, so we would love to have your help. There will be an impromptu bereaved caregiver gathering at lunch in the mill room, so please look for that table, and anyone in green or with a green clipboard can help you find that, any of our staff. Okay. I want to introduce our chairs. If we can just go to the next slide. Thank you. We have Dr. Angela Lamarca from Spain, Dr. Mitesh Borad from Mayo Clinic, and Dr. O. Dr. O had some unexpected medical healthcare system issues in Korea that started in mid-February and has been unable to attend, but she is attending virtually. They have spent a year with CCF putting together this agenda for this meeting. We're so grateful for their assistance. I also, can we go to the next slide? I also want to thank our basic chairs, Sumera Elias from Mayo Clinic and Daniela Sia from Mount Sinai. We are so grateful for their help. This is the first year that we've had a completely separate but full basic science track. We weren't sure how this would go, but the researchers have been asking us for years to do more on the basic science, and we wanted to accommodate that. That room was absolutely packed. There was standing room only, and it was an amazing meeting, so thank you so much to our chairs. Okay, next slide. There are some, can we put the lights up in the room, please? You guys can say it if you want. Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Okay, so our Scientific and Medical Advisory Board members, if you would please stand. Mitesh. I just want to thank this group of leaders. This is an amazing group who has helped us so much to chart a pathway forward. We're so grateful. We're grateful for every single one in the room of the investigators that are here, but thank you for the leadership who have been so critical to this. Thank you so much. Okay, this is our Nursing Advisory Board. Could our Nursing Advisory Board members stand, please? Thank you. Thank you to all of them. We had a meeting on Wednesday with the Nursing Advisory Board. They are led by Juan, our new Chief Medical Officer, and by Paige Griffiths. We are so grateful for this group. They are going to do amazing things this year. They have big goals and big aspirations to assist the patients. We're so grateful for their help. Okay, could I have everyone who is on the board of directors please stand for the foundation? So So I just want to thank them so much. This is a group of volunteers, many who have served multiple years in a leadership position, helping us make the big strategic decisions. So just want to really, really thank them for all of their work. Thank you. I want to thank our industry council members. We appreciate the ongoing commitment, engagement, and support of our industry colleagues who share our passion for addressing the unmet needs of cholangiocarcinoma patients. We're grateful for the increasing level of interest in this disease among so many companies. As part of our industry relationships, we have a group of dedicated partners that form an industry council, and the purpose of this is for us to collaborate in a forum of ongoing engagement and build strong relationships in areas of mutual interest. Thank you to our 9 2024 Industry Council members that are on the screen. We appreciate your guidance, your support, and your willingness to collaborate for these patients. We could not do this work without you. We'd also like to thank our annual conference sponsors. None of this could happen without our sponsors. We are so grateful to be able to gather in a global way together, every stakeholder, and it can't happen without these sponsors. So you can please give them a big round of applause. They have booths out in the hallway, so please thank them when you pass by. We would appreciate that. And I know they would appreciate that too. Okay. So we have a lot of international partners, and I just wanted to show you some of the things that we're doing internationally, and Melinda will talk more about this in her talk. But we know that patients are best served in the area in which they live. We can't help them navigate their health systems from the US. And so these groups are popping up all over the place, and we want to help them in any way that we can. We're thrilled to see a new group in Spain. Dr. Angela Lamarca is heading that up. Atuvibi, yes? Okay. We're thrilled to help them with any of them with resources and translating materials. We give all the work that we have done, we give freely to these other groups so that they can stand more quickly and assist patients in an expedited way. And we're so pleased to have so many. Can we have the lights go up again? Thank you. This is our staff. Can I have all the staff members stand, please? Let's see, most of them are in the back. They are why this conference is so amazing, and why you feel so included, and why we're able to collaborate in such a wonderful way is because we have a great staff here to serve you. And thank you so much. I'm so grateful for them. Okay, I wanted to just talk about some of these key fundraisers. This is another thing, we couldn't do our work and fund research without these, some of these key fundraisers. And you see there, these are the top 10 fundraisers. Over the last year, the CCF community fundraising events took place in 21 states across our country. Our CCF community members hosted over 30 fundraising events, plus multiple online fundraisers. This is the most fundraising events that have been done in CCF's history. So thank you to these 10 top fundraisers. We want to especially thank Touchdown for a Cure, a board member, Jack Calloway and his family hosted a gala and raised almost $300,000. We want to thank Jan and Dean Meyer. They every year hold the Quack Out for Cholangio. This year they raised a little over $100,000, all for research. And then we want to thank Paul and Talia Frederick. For Team Talia, they raised almost $65,000 this year for research. Thank you to all of our community fundraisers. We are so grateful for everyone who shares their time, their talent, and their love in order to raise funds and awareness for research and patient services. I want to acknowledge the many volunteers in the audience. Could we have the lights up again, please? If you are a volunteer in any way for the foundation, would you please stand? That includes the Nursing Advisory Board, the board members, the Medical Advisory Board, the chairs of the conference. I see whole tables of investigators that are not standing who are all volunteers. I think what you would find is that 75% of this room is volunteers for this foundation. We could not do this work without you. We are so grateful. You'll see that I'm just going to talk about the Gold Award, but there are all of these awards. Can you imagine getting an award for 500 plus hours that you've spent in an organization? So thank you so much. 200 to 500, 100 hours a year. I'm just overwhelmed by the amount of support that we have from volunteers. Thank you so much. I want to just talk briefly about, you probably noticed that we have a refreshed logo and some new branding. We are elevating our brand and our communications to keep pace with the work of the CCF community while also maintaining the heart and soul that makes our organization unique. As part of this, we've rebuilt the website to simplify pathways to information, especially for the patients, to make things easier to access on smart devices and ensure that 100% are ADA compliant. The site's in the staging area, so you can take a sneak peek at it virtually at the QR code in your program. We just have modernized and refreshed our brand a little bit, but you'll see that the tree will always stay, and that bold green is what we will lead with as we continue on. We are also promoting our new tagline, and I think, hold on, I'm behind, I'm sorry. Our new colors, there you go. Okay, I'm gonna go back. And then also, just wanted to mention that you've seen that we have a new tagline, which is strength in community and hope in research. We've been leading with that, and we feel like that really embraces the spirit of this community. I wanted to share with you just another little thing outside. You'll see the giving tree. Thank you again to another volunteer, Bill Sessions, in honor of his wife, who gave us a $10,000 match. So the first $10,000 that you give or that are given virtually will be matched by Bill Sessions. So round of applause for him. That's pretty awesome. Okay, and there are many ways that you can make gifts, so please feel free. We would love to have you get engaged with us, and especially in the research. Okay, I wanted to just share a very short personal note. I have been pleased to meet and interact with so many of you yesterday, and please take a minute to introduce yourself to me today. I know I look very busy, but I have enough time to give you a hug on my way to my next meeting. I attended my first ASCO meeting 15 years ago. My knees were shaking. I could not tell you how nervous I was. Not one industry partner was interested in speaking with us. And the only thing that investigators that stopped by our booth said was, I cannot believe there's a foundation for cholangiocarcinoma. Our first conference was 11 years ago in Salt Lake City. It was really more of a gathering or a brainstorming group. Many of the senior investigators in this room were at that very first meeting and have been to every single meeting since. I feel so humbled, but I'm so proud of where this community has come in the last 18 years. Although this is not what I envisioned for my life or what I would be doing at this point in my life, what an enormous blessing you have all been to me. This work has healed my heart from deep grief, replacing anger with an overflowing abundance of love. I feel truly privileged to work with colleagues and volunteers that I consider family. You have all made my life so meaningful, and I feel grateful every day that Mark asked me to do something. Thank you for doing it with me, because I could not have done it without you. Thank you so much. I'm going to introduce Melinda. Everyone knows her. Everyone loves her. She is the first voice of hope that most patients hear. Melinda is a married mother of 6 children. I thank you, Melinda, for that. Taking a empathetic tissue. Melinda is a married mother of 6 children and a grandmother of 2, with 2 on the way. Her passion for patient advocacy and her experience with previous and current treatments gives her great insight into patients participating in clinical trials. Melinda serves as a patient advocate for the NCI Hepatobiliary Task Force. From 2006 through 2022, she is the NCI patient advocate on the NCI Patient Advocate Steering Committee. She's on the ECOG Akron GI Committee, the ECOG Akron Cancer Research Advocacy Committee, the NCI Council of Research Advocates, and the NCCN Hepatobiliary Guideline Panel. Melinda has served as a consumer reviewer for the Department of Defense for several years. Melinda's resume could go on for a year. I guess it would be safe to say that anywhere where they need advocacy with cholangiocarcinoma, Melinda is serving on one of those committees. As Chief Patient Officer for the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation, Melinda can interact, support, and educate others touched by this cancer. She shares her story with as many cancer patients as possible in hopes of giving courage to those in need. Melinda shared her extended story yesterday that she hasn't shared publicly before. If you were not in this room, and then you probably didn't wake up with puffy eyes like all the rest of us. You should take a minute to watch that. It's been recorded and will be online. But I think it's a very tender and sobering for her to share. And I hope that you'll all take inspiration from that. So, Melinda.
Well, I'm not sharing that again because, yeah, it was not easy. But I do want to say thank you to the many, many people who came up to me afterwards and thanked me for sharing that part of my story. It definitely made me feel like I was not alone through those struggles. And I know that there's others out there. And if you ever want to talk, you know how to reach me. Again, I get to lead the advocacy team, and I couldn't be more proud of this team. I have the best team ever. Emma Lourdes and I speak with patients and caregivers every single day. We answer emails, we answer phone calls, we do one-on-one Zoom talks with patients around the world. We lead support groups, webinars. We do whatever we can to get the patient resources and educate them to be their own advocates as soon as possible. We have newly hired Amy Medley this year, so when you see her, say hello. She's been here almost 9 months, and she's been an amazing asset to our team and a director of programs and getting us all structured and organized. Frida is our advocacy assistant, and she keeps us all together and has been wonderful for me this conference, keeping me in order. Again, our most important thing is to provide access to patients, to the experts, to biomarker testing, to clinical trials, to treatment, and to support. We have our newly diagnosed program that was started several years ago, where newly diagnosed patients can find us, connect with us. They can get online, order a care kit. We're revamping that newly diagnosed program. It's newly diagnosed, newly connected to the foundation. We're giving them a roadway, a pathway, a workbook, the resources they need, and the education tools that they need to be able to navigate the diagnosis and ask for the help. It's the second most visited webpage on the website. We had more than 3,500 monthly visits since the launch in August of 2021. Most of the people who are newly connected to the foundation, and most are patients, and most have intrahepatic cholangiocarcinoma. Of the top 10 pages on the website, again, the newly diagnosed is number 2, and you can see the rest. And the top 10 countries that visit the website are the United States, UK, Canada, Australia, India, China, Germany, France, Ireland, and Italy. Most patients and caregivers find us by Google. We talked a lot about Google in the last couple days, how most patients don't want to Google cholangiocarcinoma, and it's not fun to read about. But we also heard that by Googling, they were able to find the foundation. And that's definitely how patients and caregivers are getting to us. And then they're finding us through Facebook, our family and friends. Physicians are number 4, so all the physicians out there, this is a plug for you guys to please send your patients to us, because I would love nothing more than for next year for the physician referral to be number 1. We are now doing a once-a-month webinar called Navigating a Cholangiocarcinoma Diagnosis Resource Map. So for all those newly connected, newly patients that come to the website and find us and give us their information, we send out a link for a webinar. We go through a roadmap, a workbook for them. We give them some one-on-one time. And if to answer questions, we've done 2 so far in the last couple months, and we've had about an average of about 25, 26 who have joined this webinar. But then if they need more time and want to connect one-on-one with an advocate, they have that opportunity. We're continuing to have the specialist map on our website. I know many patients find a second opinion through that map or find a doctor by using that map, and this is resourced by our partner with Komodo Health Data. It gets refreshed quarterly, so you may see physician names drop or be added. It's based on the criteria that's listed there on how many cholangiocarcinoma patients they're seeing, if they're involved in research and clinical trials, and if they publish research and if they do referrals. We're working on revamping this year, so you might see a few different things added to it. We're going to have patient champions listed. There will be different criteria on there. And then we'll probably have a forced inclusion where some physicians will stay no matter what, because we know that things change. We're trying to make this the most, useful map, but also want you to know that we realize there's over 300 to 400 names on that map, and we know that not all of them can be experts, but it's, again, to be used as a tool. We have our bi-weekly webinars. We do 2 a month, educational webinars. Many of our industry sponsors participate in this. They are able to come on and talk about their clinical trials. It's been a great resource for our patient caregiver community. They're able to get on and ask questions live. Our industry sponsors and even our research community is always blown away by the questions that are asked by our patients and caregivers. You guys are well educated, know what questions to ask, and these webinars get recorded and are viewed hundreds of times after we post them on our YouTube channel. And I'm going to mention the YouTube channel because I had one of our patients tell me yesterday, nobody plugged the YouTube channel, and it's such a great resource. So all these webinars are recorded on that YouTube channel. Please go to them and watch them. Our advocacy assistance, as part of that, we have our support groups. Lourdes has expanded our support groups to have 2 patient support groups a month, 1 caregiver support group, a Canadian support group, Spanish, and bereaved support group. She's recently added parents with cholangiocarcinoma with young children group. This has been a need that's been asked for by our community. There's a group of young mothers and fathers who have cholangiocarcinoma and are also trying to raise young children, and they're bonding together and collecting resources and tools and sharing their experiences. 83% of the patients who connect with us have moderate anxiety, obviously, and I think these support groups have been a great resource for them. Our Cholangio Connect program continues to grow and thrive, but there's always a need for more mentors. Kim Kempf and Cindy run the Cholangio Connect program. We've had 1,247 matches made since the program launched in 2017, that's a 34% increase of mentor requests in 2023 versus 2022. They average about 26 matches per month, and right now they have a big focus on trying to recruit international mentors. We've had a lot of Canadian patients who have become mentors, and thank you for doing that. We're looking for international mentors in India, Europe, Australia, anywhere. If you're interested in being a mentor, please reach out to Kim or Cindy. And for all the newly diagnosed patients or patients in general, if you want a mentor, please reach out and ask for one. They will match you based on similarities to the best of their ability. We have a free nutrition resource, and thank you for our nutrition speaker yesterday for highlighting that. We have given out over 1,300 copies, paperback copies, and we've had over 1,000 digital downloads. This is a free resource. So for all the international patients, you guys can have a free electronic download. And for those within the US, you guys can order a paperback book if you would like. Our 100 question and answer book is a very popular resource as well. Since this launched, I think we're on this second or third iteration of this book. We've given out over 4,500 copies, paperback copies, and 4,200 electronic downloads. Again, for the international patients, it's available electronic download only. Our biliary emergency information card was revamped this year by the Nursing Advisory Board. And you are able to go out to the CCF booth in the lobby and if you want to, fill out the information and they can print one out for you. Other videos on our YouTube channel. We have our Biomarkers Matter in different languages. We have Understanding Clinical Trial Results. We have videos about FGFR2 and what that means. We have Understanding Your Biomarker Test Results on there. There's so many resources on there, and they're done by a company called Luminations, G2 Videos, and they take these hard, complex subjects and put them into animations into a layperson's understanding, but still grasping the science. So I encourage you to go and watch. These are our newest videos, Immunotherapy for Cancer and Understanding Your Biomarker Testing Results, and we're in the process of getting these translated into Spanish and Mandarin. Our volunteer program, as you just saw, is incredible. Claire Condry is here. She's our volunteer manager. We have over 143 active volunteers who've given over 9,000 hours just in 2023 alone. Our social media reach was over 500,000 on World Cholangiocarcinoma Day, thanks to our volunteers and all the work they did to bring awareness to cholangiocarcinoma. We have a research advocacy committee, and anyone who's interested in this, please reach out to Claire or to myself. This group is comprised of patients and caregivers who really want to understand the research going on in cholangiocarcinoma a little better. They participate in so many things. Kelly Butler is here. She has done every month. She does. She takes an article, what's the word I'm looking for? Publication. Thank you, and makes it into a patient-friendly version and highlights that for the patients so that it's more understandable. I appreciate that. That is such a talent, Kelly, so thank you so much for doing that. She's also done a poster for us. These are just some of the things that the research advocates do. I know Sarah Wang's here. She's the top picture there. She has been very helpful in the grant reviews that we do for the foundation and the grants that we give out. She's a patient advocate in that. She's just starting her career in med school, and so she's looking for a mentor if anyone wants to help. We have advocates that serve on the DoD panel and review grants for the Department of Defense. We review patient-facing materials for our industry partners. They participate in patient advisory boards, and they serve on international panels as well and bring the voice of the cholangiocarcinoma patient. These are just some of the ways that our patient advocates have participated in all these different groups. We are hosting regional symposiums in different areas around the country. We did 4 last year, 1 in Buffalo, Chicago, Cleveland, and Tucson. Our hopes for 2024 will be Chicago. We're going to partner with Global Liver Institute and Mayo Clinic to do one in Minneapolis. We have one planned for LA and hopefully one for Houston in November. Just since we've been here, we've had 4 different asks, Alabama, Portland, I already forgot. Oh, Wash U, and there was one other one. So we will put it on our list, but I think these are kind of like mini conferences and gives the patients and caregivers in those areas an opportunity to connect and come and hear a half day or a whole day of science presentations. But most of all, it gives the institution that we partner with and host an opportunity to learn more about what's going on in the cholangiocarcinoma space, and then they are more apt to get involved with what the foundation is doing. We're working on more DEI initiatives, translations of our nutrition resource book, our videos, our educational webinars. We want our materials to be translated and available in different languages. And we're hoping with the regional symposiums, we can do a bigger outreach to the underserved communities. We partner with our industry partners in many different ways. We held a Canadian Patient Advisory Board on Tuesday. We do patient advisory boards in person all the time, where we have patients and caregivers come and talk about the difficulties with their diagnosis, the journeys, the hurdles they face, and also some of the challenges that maybe industry could help us conquer. Industry can post their clinical trials on our website, and they can also participate in the webinars that I talked about earlier. I think this is a great way to get the information about the clinical trials that are available out to our community and be able to have the community understand about the inclusion-exclusion criteria and know where these sites are. I'm going to plug GWAS again. The GWAS study is at the end of the hall to the right. There's plenty of people in there to draw your blood. So I'm hoping to beat that number that we had last year. I think I heard from my husband that they did maybe around 35 draws yesterday, so we need to bump that up. We did a total of like 156 last year, and I know from all the hands that were raised the other night that there's a lot of new people in here who can go participate, and it's not just for patients, it's for the caregivers, for the professionals. They need everyone in this room to go participate in this study. And I will ask the patients to please visit the Get Involved booth out in the lobby and sign up for the patient registry if you have not already with our partner Citizen. They will get your information, they will help you get logged onto their platform and registered, and they will do the work to gather your medical records that you will have access to, but more importantly, you can consent to share your health data to help push the research forward. And that is all. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Melinda. I think you can see that there's a lot going on. We're so happy to serve these patients and help them get access to the things that they need. I want to introduce Dr. Juan Valle. He most recently served as a professor and honorary consultant in medical oncology at the University of Manchester and the Christie NHS Foundation Trust in Manchester, UK. Dr. Valle was part of a team that established the first standard of care for patients with cholangiocarcinoma in 2009 and is a founding member of the International Biliary Tract Cancer Consortium. His research focused on developing new therapies for pancreatic, biliary, and neuroendocrine cancers, and he has been instrumental in designing and developing many new clinical trials. Throughout his career, Dr. Valle has made significant contributions to the field, authored numerous publications, including over 300 scientific articles, and received multiple research grants to support his work. His research set the standard for patient care in cholangiocarcinoma. We are so happy to have him as Chief Medical Officer of the Foundation. Thank you, Juan.
It's an absolute honor to be here. It's been an amazing year, getting to know and become really embedded in the foundation, right through from the board, the executives, and all the staff that you've heard about. Most of all, it's been a thrill and a pleasure to meet more of you and have one-to-one conversations with patients and caregivers. So I'm going to focus on research and breakthroughs. We have two pillars in our strategic plan. You've heard from Melinda a lot of the great work that's been done on patient and caregivers side. And I'm going to focus on the right side of this, research and breakthroughs, focusing on how CCF facilitates the availability of global basic and translational resources, how we catalyze innovation and progress, the funding of high-risk, high-reward research supporting long-term careers in cholangiocarcinoma research, as well as reducing barriers for companies developing breakthrough drugs and devices. So let's just take the first one, facilitating the availability of global basic and translational research resources. So the main thing that attracted me also to come to the foundation was the fact that they had these very established data sets. You've heard about the International Cholangiocarcinoma Patient Registry, which is hosted by Citizen. This is a patient-consented medical records collection, which then enables real-world data to be generated at scale. You're going to hear more about this tomorrow. We also have the Komodo data set, which is claims data, which looks at community oncologists' outreach and gives us clinical insights. And again, you'll hear more about this tomorrow. If you want a sneak peek, there are a couple of posters that are already in the poster session outside. The first is a collaboration with our partners, AstraZeneca, looking at the treatment patterns over years for patients with cholangiocarcinoma and how that has changed, particularly with the advent of immunotherapy as standard of care. And a second one is also looking, this one, at the Komodo data, and is work led by our Director of Research and Data, Ash Patel, looking at cholangiocarcinoma and some insights that we're getting from that Komodo data set. So please spend some time looking at both of those posters. And as I said, we have a whole session on data, so I won't dwell any more on that. We're going to hear about the readout from GWAS, and then Amanda Notke and Ash Patel are going to tell us a bit more about Citizen and Komodo, respectively. The foundation has an established pedigree in funding research. It has funded close to 2.5 million in research fellowships, 49 up to 2023. And you can see this has been across a number of institutions. Again, I'm going to signpost to the announcement for the 2024 research fellowships, and we will also have some presentations from some of the awardees from last year's round, so you'll be able to hear how the research is progressing. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of the fellows and their mentors and the institutions who have committed to research in cholangiocarcinoma. Also to thank Ben Stanger and Sumera Ilyas, who have really been instrumental over the past year in enabling us to make sure that the fellowship program continues and going through the grant process and assessment. I also wanted to just focus on one very recent example of how these fellowships then lead to something bigger. So this was a paper published in 2021 from Tim Gretton's group. The work came from a Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation fellowship that was awarded, but it didn't stop there. It has then built and led on to a clinical trial, which is being led by one of the other fellows. So the protocol development was also part of a fellowship to Cecilia Mong. And in fact, I was informed that this study has just opened, I think last week or this week, and I think they have a first patient visit scheduled for next week. So that's great. You can see how the fundraising leads to the fellowships, leads to the development of clinical trial, which then comes back to the community. So I'm super excited to see how this develops. In terms of catalyzing innovation and progress, the C2T2, so Cure Cholangiocarcinoma think tank, this was a group that met a couple of years ago, and from that group, two unique avenues of investigation were developed in early detection in the setting of PSC, as well as next generation precision medicine. We've had some meetings during the year to hear on updates on these projects, and as these mature, we'll be able to bring these to you. Something that's new this year, and again, you'll hear more about this later on at 11 o'clock, is that we have set up a process of innovation grants. So these are now larger grants that are multi-institutional and aimed at then aligning the community and being able to get bigger investments into accelerating research in cholangiocarcinoma. So I'll tell you a bit more about this at 11. Something I do want to focus a little bit more on is the Research Priorities Consensus Conference that we will be doing next year. So this particular conference will still be here and we'll still have the same feel about it, but we hope will be bigger in that we are linking up with the European Network for the Study of Cholangiocarcinoma, ENSCA, and we're going to be having a consensus conference. And what that means is that we will be able to, as a global community, identify the research priorities for cholangiocarcinoma. What will that do? It will mean that we will align ourselves as researchers. It will also align the funding that we need to put in to research, specifically targeting some of the priorities that we identify through that process. And it's not just about funding that we do. It's about leveraging funding then from other grant awarding bodies once the community globally has identified where the funding should go. This is a work in progress, so these are a number of streams that we have identified. We will probably only be able to have 10 streams, so we're just configuring this at the moment. But just to give you an example, we have a group of pathologists who already had some conversations and setting up their group. These groups will meet 2 to 3 times over the year at least. Some may meet more frequently. They will do a literature review on what the research priorities are within their particular topic, and then they will come back next year and present what they found. So we will have a bit of data, but we'll also have a list of priorities that are suggested, and then we as a community will be able to vote on those. Make sure the wording is right, make sure we agree on the prioritization, and you can see that everybody will be working initially what appears to be in silos, but in fact within the groups there's going to be a lot of cross-pollination. We're also going to ensure that there's representation from advocacy and nursing in the groups, so that when we come to our publication following the consensus conference, it is very clear the direction of travel. So then we're all working in the same direction. The other theme under research and breakthroughs is about reducing barriers for companies developing breakthrough drugs and devices. I'll signpost you again to a regulatory session that we're really looking forward to tomorrow. This is a 2-hour session. We are hugely grateful that regulators from the US, Canada, Japan, China, and the EU have all agreed to be part of this session, which will look at some of the challenges that we're trying to face internationally, but also how we can collaborate together at coming up with some solutions so that we can, again, bring treatments to patients as fast as possible, as safely as possible. The other thing that we're working on as a community is the master protocol. So this is an umbrella protocol, so rather than having lots of individual standalone protocols in different institutions, an institution would sign up to having opening up the master protocol. Within that master protocol, as you will see in a next slide, a couple of slides, patients will then be offered a clinical trial that's right for them based on their molecular profiling. This is a hugely collaborative effort, and a shout out to the principal investigators, Mitesh Borad, who's here together with Melinda and Tony Bekai-Saab. There are trial management group leads, and we've had a huge input from Katie Kelly and Fonda Merrick Bernstam. We're working with the Global Coalition for Adaptive Research, GCAR, and they will act as the IND holders and sponsors of the study, and we're delighted from the foundation to be integrated into the development of the protocol. We have a structure which allows the protocol and the whole program to be developed. We have an arm identification and selection arm. We want to make sure that we learn as much as we can from every patient participating in the study and generously gives their time to be part of that study. And we do that through making sure that the protocol has an embedded translational research and biospecimens so that we can then take some of those learnings back to the clinic and maybe in an iterative design shape the protocol going forward. We also look to expand internationally, initially to Canada and beyond, and Jennifer Knox will be leading on that. This is a very simplified schema, and it looks a little bit complicated, but in fact, if you look at the two dark green boxes that says aberration agnostic and a target aberration. So we know that when patients undergo biomarker testing, not everybody will be identified as having an alteration that is potentially druggable with either a known drug or a new drug. And those patients would then be able to take part in an aberration agnostic. And then there will be a question around that. There will be a new treatment. There may be that we will be comparing that with the standard of care or adding it to the standard of care. But that's where patients would fit in if there was no positive signal in the biomarker testing. If there was a signal in biomarker testing, then in the lower dark green, there would be a target aberration, and there would be a specific arm. So, for example, if there was an FGFR question, then there would be an arm specifically addressing that FGFR question, or HER2, or a number of others that are in discussion. So look forward to keeping you up to date with what happens with the development of this protocol over the next year, and hope to be in a position where we can tell you that we're open and recruiting. There's a lot of work that needs to go into this before we can be ready. And with that, I'd like to thank you. There's a lot of work going on here, and happy to keep you updated in subsequent years. I'm going to hand you back to Stacie.